Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Afifah and Farida, and today I would like to present about the tafsir and ta'wil of the Surah Ar-Rahman. Check this out. Before we start the presentation, first we have to know what is difference between tafsir and ta'wil. First is tafsir. Tafsir refers to the explanation, interpretation, and clarification of the Quran based on the apparent zahir meaning of the text. It is grounded in linguistic, historical, and contextual analysis. And the next is ta'wil. Ta'wil refers to the deeper, hidden, or symbolic meanings behind a Quranic verse, often used in Sufi, spiritual, or philosophical tradition. It may go beyond the surface meaning to explore the metaphysical or mystical dimension. And the next is Tafsir Ibn Katsir Surah Ar-Rahman. First, Allah mercy and creation for the verses 1 until 16. Surah Ar-Rahman begins with the emphasis on Allah's mercy and the blessing of knowledge. The first section, covering verses 1 to 16, highlights that Allah, the most merciful, taught the Quran even before creating mankind. This signifies the importance of obedience and knowledge in the life of humans. The mention of human speech shows how Allah has honored humans with the ability to communicate truth and worship. The balance found in the universe, like the sun, moon, stars, is a reflection of the order that Allah established both in the nature and in the moral and spiritual life of human beings. All of these blessings are signed for us to reflect upon and be grateful for. And the next, blessing in the word, for the verses 17 until 30. In the second part, verses 17 to 30, Allah describes aspects of the natural world as sign of His power and wisdom. He talks about the rising and setting of the sun and moon, the movement of the star, and the balance of all things. One key example is the meaning of the two seas. The first is one salty and the other is not salty, which do not mix because of an invisible barrier. This shows Allah's control and perfect design. Pearls and coral coming from the seas reflect hidden blessing. The ships sailing through the sea point to human achievement, made possibly only by Allah's permission. The reminder that everything on earth will perish and only Allah will remain brings a message of the fleeting nature of the world and the eternality reality of the hereafter. And the next is warning to the sinners. The third section from verses 31 to 45 focuses on the warnings given to both mankind and jinn. Allah addresses both groups and challenges them to try and escape His power, which is impossible. The verses describe fire, smoke, and punishment that await those who deny the truth. The skins of judgment symbolize the consequence of arrogance and disbelief. The criminals will be recognized by their marks, and their deeds will bring them shame. This part is meant to warn and awaken the heart to repentance and to remind us that ignoring divine guidance will lead to severe adults. And the last is rewards for breakthroughs. For the verses 46 until 78, present the rewards prepared for those who are conscious of Allah. For those who fear standing before their Lord, there will be 2 beautiful gardens filled with shade, flowing rivers, fruits, and joy. This paradise is not only physical but also symbolic of spiritual peace and nearness to Allah. For the truly devoted, there are even higher gardens with purer blessings. The description of coats, companions, fruit, and flowing springs represent comfort, honor, and fulfillment. The surah ends with the powerful verse, "Blessed is the name of your Lord, full of majesty and honor," reminding us that all beauty and reward come from Him. Throughout the surah, the repeated question, "So, which of the favors of your Lord will you deny?" Call us again and again to gratitude and reflection. And the next is spiritual ta'wil of Surah Ar-Rahman. First, divine mercy and spiritual knowledge for the verses 1 until 16. Allah's mercy is the foundation of everything. He taught the Quran before creating humans, showing that the sole purpose is to seek divine knowledge. The power of speech reflects the human role as a spiritual being able to recognize truth and express worship. The balanced universe mirrors the inner need for harmony between soul and self. The example of the ayah is Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Ar-Rahman, Allamal Quran, and the meaning is the most merciful, He taught the Quran. This shows that Allah's mercy begins with the giving spiritual obedience before physical creation. And the second is outer world and inner signs for the verses 17 until 30. The physical world reflects spiritualism. The two seas symbolize the outer and inner worlds, with a barrier representing the mystery of divine knowledge. Birds and ships represent deep wisdom of the journey of the heart through life's test. Everything returns to Allah, the only everlasting reality. This teaches surrender and trust in His will. The example of the ayah is from the verses 19. Marajal Bahraini Yaltaqiyan, and the meaning is He relates the two seas meeting side by side. And spiritually, this may point to the interaction of physical and spiritual realities with divine balance between them. And the next, the fall of the ego, for the verses 31 until 45. The warning of punishment reflects the fall of the ego and false self. The fire, smoke, and boiling water symbolize the pain of being far from Allah. The sinner's shame is the soul lost when it follows desire instead of the truth. These verses invite deep self-reflection and the struggle to purify the heart. And the example is verses 35. Yursalu alaykuma shuwadun min nari wa nuhasnu fala tantasiron. And the meaning is, a flame of fire and smoke will be sent upon you, and you will not be able to define yourself. This ayah reflects the spiritual consequence of living without submission to the divine truth. And the next is spiritual rewards and divine presence for the verses 46 until 78. The gardens represent levels of spiritual closeness to Allah. The first gardens are those who act with fear and love of Allah. The second higher gardens are for those who deeply know Him. The rivers and fruits are signs of inner peace and blessing. The surah ends with the reminder that everything returns to Allah, the source of beauty and truth. The example of the ayah is from the verses 46. وَلِمَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ جَنَّتَانِ. And the meaning is, but for he who fears the standing before his Lord, there are two gardens. This ayah symbolizes spiritual elevation and closeness to Allah as a reward for sincerity and humility. That's enough for me. I'm sorry if I have a lot of mistake. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.